News 8 at 5 starts now.
First at 5 o'clock, 4 people are dead, all shot to death inside the same apartment.
Yeah, tonight we are learning more about the investigation, including the victims' identities. We'll get to that in just a moment. The shooting happened last night on Shady Oak Drive near 42nd and Mithofer. Police arrived to find all 4 victims dead. We do have team coverage for you tonight. We'll get to Aaliyah Hodges and Stephanie Zeppelin in a few minutes, but let's start with David Williams. David, what have you learned about the investigation?
4 people were shot and killed in this apartment right here, the bottom right. Just a little while ago, detectives were out here knocking on doors, talking to people, and searching for clues as they try to piece together exactly what happened leading up to those 4 people that were shot and killed right here last night. Shattered and broken glass on the back patio. You can see what looks like a bullet hole in what's left of the sliding glass door.
I heard gunshots. It was like plenty of gunshots.
Melviana Matthews tells me she heard 20 to 30 gunshots last night.
It was loud. It was real loud. It sounded like it was close over here.
Indianapolis police say they came to this apartment on Shady Oak Drive just before 10:30 last night. Inside, police say they found 4 people shot to death.
We can tell you that we do not believe that this was a random incident. We believe that this was definitely a target incident.
3 men, 1 woman, all between 19 and 21 years old. The big question, why?
I don't really know what the motive is.
Today, we saw police officers on scene working to figure it out.
There's answers out there. There's people who know. Our detectives are dedicated to finding the people responsible for this, and I know they'll work hard.
On scene today, Indianapolis Police Chief Randall Taylor said this to whomever killed those 4 people.
I would always prefer that you own up to it, turn yourself in. Let us take you through the process as opposed to committing more crimes.
The deadly violence has Matthews unnerved.
It's crazy. I don't like it.
Chief Taylor asks if you have any information to call Crime Stoppers, call the homicide tip line, or even call the beat officer. You'll find those numbers tonight on WishTV.com. For now, we're live in Indianapolis. I'm David Williams, Wish TV, News 8.
David, thank you very much. Meanwhile, the Marion County coroner has just released the names of all 4 victims. They are 19-year-old Jalen Roberts, 20-year-old Marcel Wills, 21-year-old Kamari Hunt, and 21-year-old Braxton Ford. We want to continue our team coverage now with News 8's Aaliyah Hodges.
Yeah, and Aaliyah, you've been, I understand, talking to people in the area, and they had a vigil this afternoon.
IMPD officers, chief of police, folks from the mayor's office were out here during the prayer visual. A lot of them gave their condolences to those 4 people that lost their lives. We did speak with members of the violence reduction team. They've been out here knocking on doors after the shooting, just making sure everyone is mentally okay. I did speak with the director who says people living in this neighborhood have said they are no longer shocked, unfortunately, to hear gunshots as shootings happen far too often, and they want to be more vigilant here in the area. And a lot of people I've spoken with about this tragedy says enough is enough with the violence. Many are fed up with being reassured that everything will get better when things seem to be getting worse. I spoke with the Reverend Charles Harrison over Indy 10 Point, as we know, a coalition that goes out into troubled communities and work with young people in efforts to keep the peace. He believes more resources needs to be put into the community, helping change young people's circumstances to stop this from happening.
A lot of young people are carrying guns because other people have guns. They feel like they needed to protect themselves. They may get involved in drug trafficking because for some of them, it's about survival on the street. So when you're poor and you don't know whether or not you're going to get a meal that day and your siblings, you might do things that you normally would not have done if the circumstances were different.
Father, we thank you for all that you have done.
I've been told there is going to be another prayer visual here tonight at 6:30. Coming up at 6 o'clock, you'll hear from a 19-year-old who says he is an acquaintance with 2 of the victims. Hear what he has to say. That's coming up at 6 o'clock. Reporting live on the east side, I'm Aaliyah Hodges, Wish TV, News 8.
Aaliyah, thank you very much. Now, this mass shooting happened just a couple of hours after a committee in the City County Council rejected a new commission to study ways to reduce crime.
That has added to the outrage among some community leaders. I-teammate Stephanie Zeppelin has that part of our team coverage. Stephanie?
Mike, Phil, we just got done talking with FOP President Rick Snyder, and he says that everyone in the city ought to be praying for his officers because they're really struggling with the amount of violence in the city. He also expressed his disappointment that the Public Safety Committee of the City County Council decided not to go with the proposal to create a special crime prevention council within themselves. Last night, they voted to strike down that proposal 8-3 along party lines. It would have created a commission to study violence in our city, involve stakeholders, and come up with solutions they could propose to the General Council. Sponsors of the proposal say the shooting just emphasizes the need for this kind of thing in our community. Hear what FOP President Rick Snyder had to say.
While the politicians are still trying to figure out what it is they're going to do, our officers, the residents in our community leaders, our focus is on stop the bleed. And just like you do first aid, right? The first priority is to stop the bleed, and then you can start to address some of the other symptoms and issues.
At 6, we're going to have more from President Rick Snyder, president of the FOP, about what he thinks would stop the bleed and possible solutions. That's coming up on News 8 at 6. Meanwhile, he says that officers and members of the FOP are, quote, beyond outraged at the state of violence in our city. Live in Fountain Square, Stephanie Zeppelin, Wish TV News 8.
Stephanie, thank you. And our coverage of the investigation continues online. There you can watch this morning's news conference with the IMPD chief and the mayor, plus see more reaction from the community. It's all at wishtv.com right now.